Hey everybody, it's Michelle from Michelle's Crafts and More. This is going to be my first video in 7 years, so please excuse any mess ups and craziness and who knows what all. It's been a while. I've forgotten what all I needed to do. So what we're going to make today is I'm going to show you how to make a beaded bell. And this is the bell. It's got the clapper inside and everything else. And what you're going to need in supplies is I always have a pair of these little pliers on hand, a good needle, waxed dental floss, a pair of scissors, some kind of glue, which I'm using the art glitter glue. You are going to need 44 dazzle beads, and that's what these are, and they're 8mm. You are going to need, it says a string of 3mm pearls, 60 inches long. I'm using the little silver beads today. And you're also going to need a 60-inch string of 3mm by 6mm oat pearls, which I'm using silver again. You can do them all in pearls. You can do them with the multicolored beads. You can pick and choose what color beads you want in it. Doesn't really matter. Just need to have a good length of your dental floss. And of course, thread your needle, which actually can go fairly easy. Not always, but fairly. Then you're going to start off with about 12 of the dazzle beads. And I'm just doing multicolored. So whatever I happen to grab and put on here is what's going to go on here. There's no rhyme or reason to this. It's just whatever I happen to grab. Grab some purple because I don't have any purple out. Or green. Whoops, that's purple again. Good grief. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, once you get all of those strung on, you're going to leave a little bit of a tail at the back end and just tie a knot. I usually tie it about 3 times to give it some stability, and then I will add a drop of glue when it's all done to keep the knot from coming undone. And trust me, dental floss is not the easiest thing in the world to mess with. Okay. Once you have that tied, then you're going to go in with your little round beads, and you're going to string 5 on to your needle. Sometimes they're easy to pick up, sometimes they're not, because they're so darn tiny. And from there, what you will do is you will take it and you will jump over your first bead, go through your second bead, and pull it tight so that it looks kind of like that. Then you're going to go in for 5 more beads, and you're going to do this all the way around. Just every other one of the dazzle beads is going to get 5 beads. Well, good grief, if they'll quit jumping around. Let's go over the next bead, through the 4th bead, and pull tight. Preferably without it twisting. I do hope that everyone is having a good day today. It sounded like we were going to get a storm, and then it sounded like it passed over, and then it sounded like it was coming back, so I haven't decided what it's going to do. It's just going to be crazy, I guess. Whoa. That bead tried to run away. You'll have to excuse any noise from outside. Of course, the people down catty corner from me decided they were going to have a whole bunch of people over, and so I'm hearing cars running up and down the road. And I'm hoping that it's not coming through. But you just never know. Okay, last one of the 5. And when you go through this last bead here, you're going to go up through that very first little silver bead there. And then what you're going to do is basically start going the opposite direction with just 3 of the beads. And you're just going to string 3, and you're going to go over and go up through that first bead, and it's going to be tight. And you'll have to hold it tight. And what I do is I actually go through all of them again to give them a little bit of stability. And as you can see, it's wanting to pull apart there. So you just have to kind of keep pulling on them and get them back into position to keep it tight. And if it's a little loose, it'll be okay. Nobody's going to really notice. Back up through those 5 beads. And me and these pliers are going to go round and round here in a minute. See how it's still trying to pull loose? Just come back in and just start tightening. for those 5. And back again. One more set of 3 beads here. Well, it'll quit fighting me. All right, the last 3 beads. And that's what your base should look like. It's just pretty much a ring of the big beads and a ring of the little ones. And then what you're going to do is you're going to come over here to your seed beads, or what, not seed beads, but your oat beads, and you're going to grab one of those, one of the little round beads, and one oat bead. You're going to take that and you are going to run it over here to this bead over here. So it's going to basically make like a little tent or a little triangle right above your bead right there. And you're just going to do that all the way around. Every other one gets a set like that. An oat, the little pearl bead, and an oat bead. If I can get it on there. And if you can see how I'm having trouble right there, that's where pliers come in handy to hold that needle and grab those beads with the other hand. And you can pick them up quite easy. And you're just going to go keep on going. Oat, pearl, and an oat. You just take it through the big beads, your dazzle beads, or your pearl, or whatever 8mm bead you wanted to use. And you just keep on going. when you get back to the beginning, you're going to go through there, and then you are going to go up through your oat and your round bead, and then you're going to go back to using the dazzle beads and putting them on, and then you're going to go through the pearl, string on a dazzle, through the pearl, string on a dazzle, through the pearl, string on a dazzle, pearl, dazzle, pearl, dazzle, and pearl. That one was trying to hide from me. Make sure when you're doing this you keep one tail out because you're going to need it. Okay, one more dazzle bead. What color have we not used? We've not used a red. And through that pearl again. And then you're just going to keep going around like that with the oats and a little pearl, providing they don't jump off. Another oat. And you're going to take that and jump over to the next pearl, and you're just going to keep going around and around and around. So what has everybody been up to besides moving on with life? Same as I have done. I have been learning to quilt. I have done a lot of reading. I have still been driving the school bus. Just the usual life, I guess. You know, I've made a lot of new friends here on YouTube, and they're the ones that have encouraged me to try and reactivate my account on here for something other than just watching videos, but to actually start making videos again. So I don't know what kind of craft I will be doing. It may just be a hodgepodge. It might be some beading, it might be some paper crafting at some point in time, which I haven't done in a while. It might be some random sewing, quilting. One never knows with me. Trying to keep this in frame and keep my hands out of the way, but when it comes to stringing the beads, that's a little bit harder. When you get back to where you started, go through that pearl, up through the oat, out through the other little pearl, pull it a little tight, and back to your dazzle beads. You're going to do this through 5 layers. And since I'm just using multicolored, it's not going to matter what order they're in or if they match up or a mix or anything else. What in the world did I just do? Oh, there it is. You got twisted on me. Now the pattern that I've got shows using 5 high, but it can be smaller. I've seen some do them smaller, only like 3 high, but I don't really care for that look. I prefer it to be taller with the 5. But that's just my personal preference. And if you're graceful like me, you can just drop the whole darn thing on the table and that'll be that. Okay, 3 more to go. But you can see how it's starting to take shape. Let's get these out of the way. And go back to the oat and the pearls. And we'll just keep going around and around. Alrighty then. Just pulled that right out of the needle. Sorry for constantly getting out of the frame of the camera. I'm trying to get used to this new camera angle. And a new camera and a whole new setup. So just bear with me while I work out the kinks with this first video or two. Okay, this half a bead in here is getting on my nerves. We're going to pull that out and throw it away. Back up through the beginning. Bring in the dazzle beads. Drop the needle because, you know, why not? There's that pearl, dazzle bead, pearl, dazzle bead. I'm out of camera again. Good grief, this is going to be a mess of a video. And back at the beginning. See, I just feel like that would be too short for a good bell. I think it works better when you've got 5. And I'm out of camera range again. Good grief. I do. I think this would look better than just that small amount right there. So we'll put 2 more rows on. And I may have to tie on another piece of dental floss because I don't think I pulled that one out long enough. But that's okay. helps if you actually get it through the bead and not anywhere else. Through that last pearl, up through the oak, and through that pearl. Oh, good grief. Let me get another piece of floss to tie onto the end of that. Since I'm having to do that, that's where the glue comes in handy, because you can put a little dot of glue on here. And it will hold it together while you're finishing. Back to the beads, the dazzle beads. Cut that little bit there off. And we'll just keep on stringing. Whoops, that didn't work. Didn't give it enough time to dry. Let's try this again. Put an extra knot in there. That's much better. Some of those tails off. One thing I don't like about wax floss is it does leave a bit of a mess. Okay, that's where that knot is. So let me pull it just a hair tighter. See if I can't get that knot to come through. And then since I know that it was right in here, I can just drop a tiny little drop of glue in there, kind of smear that around. It'll dry clear, so nobody's ever going to see that. And they're never going to know that you might have had to piece that together. How many do we have? We've got one more to go. And as I said in the video with the interview that Debbie at In Quilt Effects said, I like to see people's mistakes and how they're fixed. And since I didn't pull enough of the dental floss to begin with, you got to see my mistake and how I fixed it right in the very first video. That shows that I am human, shows that yes, I make mistakes, as does everyone else. And it shows how to fix them and how to keep right on trucking. And nobody will ever be any the wiser. Except for everybody that watches this video. Well, good grief. Apparently this bead does not wish to be used because it keeps jumping out of my hand. But we're not going to take offense at that. We're just going to make him be used. Right there is where I pieced together, and as you can see, I had no issues going through there where that little knot was and that little bit of extra glue. Up through that whole line of beads there. And then we'll put on the final row of dazzle beads. And one more. What I do is I pull it good and tight, and then you are going to take your little pearls, and you are going to add a total of nope, we've got to do one more triangle. So let me see. Let me take that back off because I need these. We've got to make one more row of these with the oat, the pearl, and the oat. Almost back at the start there. Just a couple more. Now I'm done with the oat beads. Now I just have to string one of these in between each one of the little triangles here. What I do when I do that is I take it back through the other little seed piece. Okay, did I miss a bead? I missed a bead. What the heck? We'll just pull that needle out and rethread it. piece off the end there. Just because dental floss is like any other thread, it will fray. There we go. That's better. Thought I had a bead on there, and apparently it slipped off before I realized it. The joys of working with teeny tiny little stuff. Okay, back through that first one where we started. Pull it tight. And then I am going to add 12. Oh, I'm going to add 4. If I can get it to stay on the needle instead of jumping off. Add 4. And then I'm going to add a dazzle bead. And then I'm going to add 4 more. When I do that, I'm going to come across here and I'm going to grab this side. And then I'm going to go back through those first 4. And I'm going to pull it tight. And then I am going to add 15 of the little pearls. And then I will bring it through the other side of that dazzle bead so that that makes the hanger. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my needle down into the bell so that it comes out the bottom. And then I am going to add 18 of these little pearls. Going to add another dazzle bead. One last pearl. And then I will go part way up through all of those other little pearls. Yes, I know it looks like a mess right now. This is one of those times where you have to trust the process, because you can tighten it up. And then it'll get loose, and then you tighten it up. And then from there, you can tie a little knot in it. And then come back in with your glue. And I usually put a big glob up in there. And I put a big glob where I started. This first couple of beads in that first knot. And then I can trim off all the excess and pull my bead topper back out, and there is the bell with your little clapper inside. I hope that everybody enjoyed the video, and I hope I will be able to make more in the future. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye.